Welcome to my rustic log cabin kitchen. In today's video, I want to take you guys along and share the story of how I've been transforming this kitchen to take it back in time and to make it function for our lifestyle, a lifestyle where we grow our own food and have our own natural remedies for a home apothecary. And at the end of this video, I'll show you what this kitchen used to look like so you can see where we started from. And this project's not done, it's still a work in progress, so I'll share some of the things we still have to do along the way. And I'll share some of the ways I've been able to take this kitchen back in time just by thrifting and antiquing and really putting a lot of thought into each individual piece and how it serves our family. And everything here was thrifted or purchased on Facebook Marketplace. Here you can see I took out all the upper cabinets and I just went on a hunt for unique pieces I could hang on the wall that act as storage. There are a lot of touches that help bring this kitchen back in time, like this original oil painting. I find these on Etsy. I have found great artwork for my home on Etsy. You can get things from overseas at really great prices that you just can't find here in the States. I also like to add things like little antique dressers that help to store spices. And everyone thought removing the upper cabinets was a really bad idea because it would take away so much storage. But I have found it to be an excellent way to get creative with how we store things and really only keep the things that are crucial to serving us. So there's nowhere to put extra clutter. Everything has a home, and if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. So there's another little cabinet that sits on top of the countertop. I hung some of our cast iron and our most used pots and baskets on the wall. So this log cabin is 1,150 square feet and is actually 3 stories. So each floor is pretty small. So sometimes that means using floor space to get creative with things. This is actually my worm composting bucket. In the winter, I'm able to keep that inside so I don't have to go out into the snow, and my worms don't like to be out in the cold either. And it just helps us to make sure we're composting. We've got our chicken feed bucket on there so nothing goes to waste. And a lot of my morning time is spent prepping food for the day. Because I am busier in the afternoons and the evenings, I like to get all the prep work done. Here you can see the top of the fridge is where we store all our baskets. Baskets make it super helpful when I'm taking food to go or just grocery shopping. And then I have a little antique apothecary here that I found a couple of months ago, and it's really helpful for all of the natural remedies and just to keep all those small things organized. This piece is an old Hoosier cabinet, and it is really, really old. And I actually hung the top of the Hoosier cabinet instead of placing it on the countertop, which allowed us more countertop space. This one had a beautiful wood top. I really liked the rustic feel of it. It is a little bit wonky in places. It has definitely seen a lot of life, but everything is super organized. I also found this old crate and put casters on it, and this is like our little random things pantry. I'm gonna put a handle on this so it's easier to pull out, but that really helps with extra storage. And here you can see the top of the Hoosier. I like to keep this part open. It does have these accordion doors, and I put the top on these metal shelf racks. I'm actually gonna replace those with some more antique-y decorative ones when I find them. The accordion doors don't shut very easily, so it was better to keep them open just to protect them from getting damaged. But I also like the way it gives us this open shelf where we can put all of our teas and coffee. This is sort of our tea coffee station. And then inside we store sugar and baking supplies on the left side. And these shelves actually point downward. They're super uneven just from the age of this, but it still works great. And then here is where we keep all of our dishes. We try to keep the dishes simple. They have all been thrifted, but I just keep what we need for our family and to entertain. And I was a little bit nervous about how well this would function because it is so old, but it is doing great. Up top, you can see there's an old tobacco drying dehydrator, and I do use that for drying herbs. This is the part of the kitchen that's not finished. So this is where the sink, the original sink is, and some spider webs up there. And I already have the new sink picked out, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It is designed to stand alone. I'll put a curtain in front of it to hide some things under it. But because we hand wash all our dishes, like this trash can needs to be hid under it, I needed a standalone sink that has room on both sides for dishes. Our floors are super rustic and worn out, but I actually like it because it just makes it feel homey. I don't have to worry about anything damaging the floors, and it just takes all the pressure off. This was an old workbench, something that would have been used in a garage for tools, and so is the one on the other side with the marble top. And here we put some cabinet lights that we had under our other cabinets because this cabin is dark. Those are going to be replaced. They just put off a terrible light. It's not cozy, so I'm going to be hanging some wall sconce lights. This is a great little storage piece here, and I have all my peppers from the gardens and just little odds and ends that I use often, easy to reach. And everything has a purpose. Even those plates, they are Turkish plates. I love the way they look. These are some of my stoneware bowls. All of this gets used. So if we're entertaining, the plates come off. This holds some spaghetti and some pasta when I have some handmade pasta ready to go. Even the little broom, I use that to clean my stove and my fireplace. The great thing with using pieces like these old workbenches is they have amazing storage, and it really helps to keep things managed. There is only one place to put measuring spoons, so I used to never be able to find little things like this because people would put them back in any drawer, any cabinet. Here, everything has a home, and it all goes back or it won't fit. So it really helps to keep the clutter and the things managed. And I think it's beautiful as well. This stove I found on Facebook Marketplace. It is no longer available. It was from a company in Canada that made wood stoves, and they altered them to be gas stoves and even electric. This is a full gas stove, and it's got great storage for spices. I just recycle those bottles, and those are all the spices the children use, so they're easy to grab for them. And another trick, because our kitchen and our home is so small, is I use any underfloor space. So under the stove, I keep my stoneware baking dishes, and my baking dishes and most things are multi-purpose. So they are baking dishes, but the top is also a tray or a cookie sheet. So I can use the top for cookies or baking biscuits. And then if I need to put a lid on the dish I'm cooking, I can just use it as a lid. I also keep our food out quite often, and so I'm always using these stoneware and ceramic things that have lids so I can prepare food, place the lid on top so it's protected from, any pests or anything, and then it's on the counter for people when they're hungry. These blue Dutch ovens, they are actually made out of clay as well, and they have been wonderful because they're not as heavy as cast iron. I was having a hard time with large Dutch ovens. I keep them on the stove full time. We use them every day, and they're what we cook everything in. And I just found it really difficult to be constantly moving around really heavy Dutch ovens. These are really light. I found them at Williams-Sonoma outlet, and so they've been a great investment. And again, all these little storage containers just make it so nice to keep things organized. There you can see the lid to my stoneware. It can easily be used as a baking dish. That's what we cook our homemade pizzas on, or cookies. Anything we want to bake can be cooked on that lid, so I don't have cookie sheets and extra things, and it just keeps everything nice and tidy and organized. This is our salt container, and it was empty, so I went down to our pantry. Our basement was converted into a living space for teenagers and 2 bedrooms, but I left part of it raw, unfinished, to use as a pantry. This is where we keep our year supply of everything, which really helps to free up space in our kitchen, which is great. Since we don't have a lot of storage now, everything upstairs has a place, and then anything extra can be kept down here. This holds a year supply of everything. So if we use it, I try to maintain a 1-year supply. Obviously, it's not a perfect system, and sometimes things fall through the cracks, but here's a quick little tour. I'll be going through more of this in another video, but I did want to give you guys a sneak peek since we had to come down here anyway. We store backpacks, books, preparedness items, and then again, if there is something we use in this home, like salsa, I buy a year's supply. Wheat berries, any beans that we eat, sugar products, herbs. We have lots of storage, cat food, the things the animals and pets need. We have lots of spices and things stored in Mylar bags. Some of it in case of emergencies, but most of this is to supply us with the things that we are constantly consuming in our home. So we never have to worry about going to the grocery store. We can just come shop this pantry when we need food. And it does make it so much easier to have these things on stock. On this day, I was cooking dal and some sweet potatoes, and I also have rice going in my VitaClay cooker at all times. I like the VitaClay. If you're not familiar, you can look them up. I'll put a link below, but it is a clay Instapot. So again, I like stoneware. I like clay. They are things that age well. As they age, if they change colors, it only makes them look more beautiful. They're very durable. I found my cast iron, when I would bump it into things, it would nick, and the coating was coming off, and I would find some of that in my food. So I just moved away from all the cast iron. The clay doesn't nick. It doesn't really have a coating on it. It's sort of all built into the material because it's just clay. So the color is already built in, which is really nice. So this piece right here is really, really old, and I'm possibly going to lighten it. I haven't decided yet. It feels a little dark, but it is where we keep all of our dried pantry goods. So it works as our upstairs pantry. So when these jars are empty, I can go to the basement and refill them. But I really wanted to have these things on hand because, out of sight, out of mind, and it's easy not to add nutrient-rich foods into your diet if you get out of the habit. Everything is old, so things don't always shut the way they're supposed to, but it's a beautiful piece. So a big part of my diet is sprouts, and so here I have my sprouting set up, and I'm going to water them and just get them cleaned up. And with things like this, I just find wherever they're going to fit. So here's our sink that we need to redo still. And another thing with doing this kitchen is I've just been patient. It takes time to find the right pieces, and then the new sink is quite an investment, so it just takes time to save up to be able to buy that. So I'm totally content with the sink as it is until we can get the one that's right for this space. And that's why it's taken us 6 years to get this kitchen to where it's at, but it makes it all the more meaningful. Here is the table that we're currently using. This table is actually an outdoor table. It's teak, and it goes on our back porch. There's some benches and chairs that I'm getting for it, and it gives us more space since our home is tiny to have guests, and we can eat outside. For now, it's been in here, and it's been great, but I did find the right dining table for this space. The trick with this space is it has to function as a dining table, a workspace, because this is where I do my work, and a cutting board. And so I found another one that has a really deep drawer. It's absolutely gorgeous. It can be used as a cutting board, but it will accommodate chairs a little better than this one because it has open space under the legs, where this one has legs on the side, so you can't put a chair under it. And it's just been hard to set it up as a dining room chair. We will be getting rid of those cloth chairs and just getting some antique looking chairs so we can have a place to sit to eat. Underneath this other piece, which was also a workbench, is where I keep some of our storage. I keep a 5-gallon bucket of flour and the baskets for potatoes, and just all the odds and ends that we need to cook from scratch. You can see the eggs are hanging on the fireplace, so anywhere I can find to put things. I have some herbs hanging there. These things often move around in my house, and sometimes when the fireplace is going, it's too hot to hang eggs there, so I'll find somewhere else to hang them. But here you can see what this space looked like before. Pine cabinets, very traditional upper cabinets, lower cabinets. The fridge used to be where the Hoosier cabinet is and really took up a lot of space there. I've changed the lighting in this kitchen as well, and I feel like we have transformed this space into something that functions so beautifully for our family. This piece over here was an old cabinet from our basement, and the bottom piece was from Facebook Marketplace. And the fridge tucks nicely behind this wall, so it's hidden instead of being the first thing you see when you walk in our house like it used to be. And with using all the wall space, it's just really helped to get all the things that we find important, even baskets hanging on the lights. Just gives us that extra space we need. All these little drawers, all these little random shelves offer so much storage and keep everything nice and tidy. Thank you for going on this tour with me. Thank you for following along on our journey of growing our own food, cooking from scratch. I hope this inspires you. If you need to do your kitchen and you don't have a big budget, this is an excellent way to remake a kitchen with a very low budget, and not only remake it, but remake it to function perfectly for your family, and remake it in a way that makes it so beautiful, with every piece intentionally placed to serve your needs and the needs of your family. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.